How you doing? Middle of the week. Happy Wednesday, y'alls. Hope this podcast finds you well. Just waiting for the place to pile in. We got 28 live. Yeah. What's up, Albert? How you doing, man? Robert, what up? Good to have you guys. Thanks for being here and supporting the SMT YouTube channel. Turn the music down just a smidge-rooney. Oh yeah, hit that like button, please. Appreciate that very much. So we got the middle of the week Wednesday edition. We got January 20th, 2001 SMT podcast. I felt like today was a good day to do a podcast. Go live with it. Split up the week, break it up into two pieces. A lot has already happened this week, so I wanted to discuss it. Hashtag Form Voltron. That's right, Mike. Yep. Thanks, Kazi. Appreciate the shout out there. The Sneed Sports channel. You went ahead and linked it there. Appreciate it very much. Go ahead and subscribe. Join the community there as we discuss NFL, NBA, MMA, and all things professional sports. We got some good topics tonight. I didn't want to make a long video and then kind of abbreviate my take on everything. I wanted to just, dedicate a full podcast to it. We'll see how long this podcast takes. They usually go about an hour, so we'll see. I could probably consolidate into 30 minutes. We'll see how this goes. You guys tell me how long you want me to go for. Hey, Francois, good to see you, man. Thanks for stopping by. Yep, new FCC chair on deck. A lot of turnover in the political space. Hey, Salvador, good to see you, man. Yep, got some political turnover, administration changes, so that's on deck. Let's see what else we got going on here. On the podcast tonight, we're going to talk LG and their LG electronics. Smartphones and whatnot. We're going to talk prepaid, most definitely. Got to talk about trends for 2021, some predictions and whatnot. The London cast, good to see you. Other topics in tonight's show. We're going to talk some AT&T stuff. AT&T is hashtag winning. Doing big things in wireless. Good wireless network, man. They do really good in that. Other stuff, maybe not so much. Media, customer care, billing, But hey, got to call a spade a spade. The wireless network is hashtag tremendous. All right. FCC news. We're going to talk Ajit Pai. I'm going to give it to him. I'm going to give it to Mr. Ajit Pai. Mr. Reese's Cup mug himself. Smug mug. All right. Hashtag Mod Squad for all my moderators. Hashtag 2Live crew for those watching this on the live. Hashtag Replay crew for those watching on DVR. Hashtag Ravioli Gang for those watching this while they're eating dinner or if you're hungry and you're approaching feeding time. All right, let's go ahead and get the show started. Yeah. Here we go. Thanks, Ronald. Appreciate you being here. Yeah, that's right. That is right, Ronald. Let's get the show started, shall we? Jay, good to see you. Jay Holmes says, Sneed, I do have breaking news. NR 41 finally exists in more than just a few places in Houston. North Houston, 290 Cypress area. Good to hear. Nicholas, my friend. Oh, Nicholas, we wanted to give you that formal welcome to the SMT Patreon page. Appreciate you, man. Thank you. Welcome to the community, sir. So here we go. I want to start with the LG story. Sometimes it's just really important that you understand how hard it is in the smartphone OEM space. It is really tough. Hey, Rohan, good to see you, man. Not much happening, just doing a podcast, All right, so here's the way that this works, okay? So LG's smartphone department, LG's smartphone performance, how they do in sales and stuff like that. Not good, and it's been bad for a while. I mean, it's been so bad for so long, it's almost like they're an afterthought in smartphones. Nobody even really thinks about LG. You think about Apple and the iPhone. You think about Samsung and the Galaxies. OnePlus, Google gets a little bit of love. Not much. The phones just don't sell. LG does sell some stylos and some K series phones, but the V series doesn't sell well. Even though it's a good phone, it just doesn't. Unfortunate. Anyways, here's the update. LG might actually go ahead and discontinue, terminate their smartphone manufacturing business. Completely eliminate the entire smartphone line. They're looking at potentially multiple different scenarios of what they're going to do with the business, and a discontinuing of the smartphone manufacturing is on the table. There's a number of different things they might do, but that is on a possibility. So if you like LGs, sad news for you. You really can't be surprised. You can't, no way. How could you be surprised after seeing the way that their smartphone sales have been just awful? For the better part of the last half a decade, they've been non-existent in sales. The LG Electronics CEO sent out a memo that a complete dismissal of the smartphone manufacturing end of the business is potentially one of the options that they might look into. And he cited that the competition is very fierce and it's very difficult to catch traction in the space. I don't know, man. Look, when it comes to smartphones, it's Apple and then everybody else. It's the iPhone and then it's everything else. And honestly, the difference between number one and number two is so extreme. So Apple's number one and it's not even close. And then Samsung is number two and it's not even close. Number three is an afterthought. From what I understand, the possibilities include selling the LG smartphone business, just withdrawing it, and then the other is just simply downsizing it, so maybe shrinking the number of models or something like that. I don't know. They ain't going to make it. LG is not competitive in the smartphone space. As a manufacturer, they just can't sell anything. I don't know if it's a situation that the phones just aren't good or if it's the software. It's a number of things, in my opinion. Look, we're talking about the smartphone business of LG has lost $4.5 billion over the last 5 years, averaging almost losses of $1 billion per year. That ain't going to do it. Shut it down. If I was losing $1 billion a year, I would have shut that down yesterday. 22 consecutive losing quarters when it comes to business and money. LG is now in the others category. For those of you that know what I'm talking about, LG is in the others category, meaning such little market share, they just stuff them in the others. So that means there are a couple of bigger people above them that aren't even worth mentioning alongside Apple and Samsung. So you're runner-up to the runner-up to the runner-up. I don't know. LG is not better in any measurable way than Apple, than Samsung, than OnePlus, than Google. There is no way, shape, or form. There's no way LG makes a better device in any category or measurable. So if you have stock in LG, or I don't know if they trade, if you've got, big goals for LG, it's not happening in smartphones. The hardware might be okay. We've seen it fail. The software is a mess. It's not very good in my opinion. The support is atrocious. They get late updates. They get insufficient, not a good number of updates. It's not well supported. The value at the time of purchase is non-existent. It completely drops off. You go to trade it in, it's worth nothing. You try to sell it, it's worth nothing. I mean, within the first year, it goes from like $1,000 phone or a $900 phone down to like $300. I mean, Samsungs are bad, and they're only worth like $500 after a year. The iPhone, it might lose $100 or $200 in value, but it's still worth some money when you're done with it. Man, it's just bad. Boot loop software issues, the clunky software, failing hardware, I don't know, display issues, we've seen that. Storage issues, I don't know. Josh, good to see you, man. I have no idea what the situation is there. HTC has failed. LG is failing. They can't make money. They're unable to be profitable. They're unable to make money in today's OEM space. It's just too hard to do it. Samsung and Apple have the mind share. They've got the market share, and LG doesn't have a chance. As great as LG can be with certain models, people just don't look their way to buy their phones. They make great TVs. I don't think you guys understand. The TVs are absolutely tremendous. LG makes the best TV in my opinion. I've got a 75-inch 4K upstairs. I've got a 65-inch behind me, LG 4K. I love them. They're both 8 series TVs. They're tremendous. They're incredible. The microwaves, the fridges, they make good stuff. The phones just don't sell for whatever the reason, and I don't know. They just don't. LG makes the best screens. I agree. They make good displays, especially the large ones, the OLEDs, just can't sell phones, man. So if LG decides they're going to downsize, that might help lean the business. If they decide to get rid of the smartphone business, I wouldn't be opposed to it because they're not selling. As much as I want competition and more phones, they're not good enough to sell against the likes of the iPhone, and the Galaxy devices. People are just not looking at them. Well, you could say it's the marketing too, John, but boot loops, bad reputation, horrible software support, lack of updates. There's a number of reasons why they failed. I think it's many things. That's why it's failing. It's more than one thing going wrong. The Samsung Galaxy Note 7 was dang near exploding everywhere, and Samsung survived. The iPhone, I mean, what's so great about it? Right? They're selling you an ecosystem. The hardware is nothing special, But Mike, it's hard to shake that. It really is hard to shake that reputation. My Nexus phones went bad with boot loop. My LG G4 went bad with boot loop. My LG 5X went bad with boot loop. I had 3 LGs that went bad with boot loop. I can't do it anymore. Can't do it. Oh, and they told me that they weren't going to replace it and fix it. They said it was beyond manufacturer's coverage. So I'm out of the LG business personally. I know a lot of people are, so they just couldn't cut it. Maybe they could stick to mid-rangers, stop making the flagships or something. I don't know. The situation is dire for smartphones for LG. All right, so stick a fork in them. I think they're done. They just ain't going to make it. Let's go on to the next story. So this one, I don't know, could go in a number of different directions. Do you guys want to do AT&T? You want to do the Ookla speed test report? Could talk 5G. Let's do the 5G piece. That's pretty good. Let's talk 5G. Okay, so when it comes to 5G, I found a story. I'm trying to remember if it was Telecommunicator, if it was Fierce. I forget what it was. Anyways, there's a story that's circulating the wireless media. 5G, absolutely. And it says that 5G is available to 75% of the U.S. population. I don't know if this is actually true, and I don't even know if it matters, because I have my doubts about how they're calculating this number and what this number actually means. So what I mean is, I would assume that it's highly unlikely that 5G is actually available to 75% of the U.S. population. And the reason I say this is because how is it 75% when all of it relies completely on LTE? So basically they're saying we're going to give you some 5G where LTE is available, right? So I don't understand how it could be 75%. Now, most likely a majority of that is going to be the low-band 5G variety. So we're talking about band 5, we're talking about band 71, the low-band stuff, which is not very fast, and there's no capacity in it. So when people speed test low-band 5G, they say to themselves, well, how is this an upgrade? How did this transcend my wireless experience by getting slower speeds than I did on LTE? So the trouble here is I think it's an exaggeration of 5G coverage, and then obviously it's an exaggeration of what 5G represents as a transcending new wireless technology. It's just not worth it to upgrade to a phone or to have a specific plan from your legacy plan, to make those upgrades, spend more money possibly, and then your experience doesn't change, or it could worsen. You know, we've seen people do this before where they're like, no, I'm turning 5G off. Well, what the heck did you buy the 5G phone for? And what is your carrier trying to sell you? So I already, right off the rip, when I read this story, I had a problem with the percentage. It just doesn't seem right. 75% of the population. What they're basically saying, I think, is as a collective, meaning Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile collectively cover 75% of the U.S. in 5G. That might be true. But T-Mobile doesn't cover 75% of the population, nor does AT&T or Verizon. That's just all nonsense. So if all the carriers combined are at 75% of the U.S. population, this is also important to note that it's not geographical range, meaning 75% of the U.S. footprint is not covered. It's just 75% of the population, which basically means big city areas, right? Because that's where 75% of the U.S. population is. It's like 80% live in large cities. So what have they really accomplished here? The expectation is that over the course of the next 6 months, these numbers are going to increase. So what they are saying is that of the 75% of the U.S. that has 5G access, only 8% of the customers have a 5G handset. So take the 75%, take 10% of that, and that's the amount of people, 1 in every 10, actually have a 5G device. So if you're in a room with 10 people, 9 out of 10 of them don't even have a 5G phone. So it doesn't even matter that you have 5G access when people don't have the 5G phones. They're not adopting it very quickly. They're not like itching to get a 5G phone. People are basically saying, I'm not concerned. What I have works. I don't know what the reason is to upgrade to this 5G. What is 5G? Not everybody is you guys. The 80 people or so that are here watching this, you know what 5G is. But the majority of people do not. So it shows in the proof of the numbers. 8% of the handsets are 5G capable of that 75% of the U.S. The expectation is that the percentage is going to increase. So the 5G availability will increase from 75% to 80%. And the amount of handsets that'll have it will increase from 8% to 12%. That'll happen in the next 6 months. Very slow adoption rates. I don't know, Barry. Is that really a thing? Like, are people really buying into that conspiracy? The concerns about 5G and all that? Is that really a thing? Maybe it is. Maybe it's a bigger factor than we think. Maybe. Yeah, Chaim, I've heard that. People calling 5G in beta. You know, it's in its infancy stages. It's early. But at some point, it's not early anymore. You know, it launched in 2019. Last year was like a low band year. This year is going to be a mid band year. Maybe now it'll be something that people can actually tangibly see as an upgrade to their devices. The two issues that 5G is having, and this is what I've visually seen and I can account for, is that the availability of 5G is not as extensive and it's exaggerated by these carriers. And then the performance, it's not fast. The only 5G that's actually worth a dang right now is the ultra-wideband millimeter wave because it's freaky fast. We're talking about gigabit speed because of those really wide, ultra-wide channels. And then, where T-Mobile has its N41, where it's like a 60 or 80 megahertz channel, it's worth it. Then it's worth noting because you're getting 300, 400, some are even showing me 500-600 megabits per second. That's a worthy upgrade for capacity. People are not going to upgrade from an LTE device to a 5G device until they know it's worth it. They have to see a tangible, measurable difference. They have to see the value in the upgrade. They're going to spend $1,000 on a 5G phone. They're going to buy the new iPhone. They're going to buy a new Galaxy, whatever. They're $1,000 for flagships. They're $500 for mid-rangers. People are looking at these phones and they're saying, is it even worth it? Show me why. Show me the use cases that's going to change my life if I upgrade to a 5G phone, or if I change my 5G plan, or if I switch from T-Mobile to Verizon, or Verizon to T-Mobile, or Sprint, former Sprint to AT&T, or whatever. I don't know. We're watching people literally turn 5G off. Myself being one of them. I have turned 5G off on several occasions on my Verizon line. Turning off 5G because I wanted to turn off the DSS because it was draining my battery. In fact, when I put my Google Pixel 5 into battery saver mode, it turns 5G off and it goes into LTE. Why would you sacrifice battery life just for a 5G icon to get lesser performance than LTE? You can't aggregate the same carriers you do on 5G that you can get on LTE. So oftentimes you start connecting to less bandwidth and it makes your speed slower. Unbelievable. The gains just aren't there. In most cases, 5G is worse off than LTE. LTE has more mid-band than the 5G does. LTE, whenever ultra-wideband is not available, it's almost like you might as well turn it off. Yeah, Rohan, I'm going to get the S21 most definitely. So if you turn off your 5G on your iPhone, say you got an iPhone 12, if you turn off your 5G and you run a speed test and you get 100 megabits per second, then you turn your 5G back on and you get 70 megabits per second. Why would you run 5G? To have less capacity. It's horrible. It's horrible. The 5G situation in the U.S. is jacked up. I saw Stetson, my brother Stetson, man. Stetson Doggett. Check out the YouTube channel. Check him out on Twitter. He posted something this week. I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before. It was a poll. Should low-band 5G be considered 5G? I mean, yeah, if you want to get technical, it's technically 5G. It hits a 5G standard. It's not standalone right now, but it's NSA. It's 5G. It does use LTE as an anchor, and to run uplink and stuff like that. It's just not an upgrade. It's a downgrade. To lose bandwidth makes your connection slower and loses capacity. Now, wherever millimeter wave is available, it's worth it to have the 5G on. But until, mid-band channels start to widen and all carriers are deploying it, it's really hard to get behind the 5G thing if it's not really built out well in your area from the right carriers. There's a reason why, too. There's a reason why carriers have not really deployed real good 5G. Number one is spectrum. The Sprint and T-Mobile merger got T-Mobile going real quick. AT&T and Verizon don't have any. That's changing with C-band. Hey, Lawrence. And even from T-Mobile's standpoint, do you guys know what 5G really is? I'm going to take a sip of something because I got to re-up here. "5G is an indication to carriers prepare to spend money. I don't care what Verizon tells you, AT&T or T-Mobile. 5G is an agreement between carriers and customers that the carriers are going to densify the networks. They are going to increase the number of tower sites across every city in America. And the carriers don't necessarily want to do that at a fast pace. The hardest thing for a wireless provider to do is build new tower sites to densify the network. Verizon has embraced it. I don't know if you guys realize this. Once Verizon gets a hold of C-band and CBRS, with the snap of fingers, they're going to be able to upgrade their network. The capacity is going to double. They have a tower density that's unmatched. AT&T is also changing their tower density as well. T-Mobile's actually running away from tower density. T-Mobile wants no parts of densification. They've told us that they don't want to operate any new small cells. They don't want anything to do with small cells. AT&T and Verizon have embraced the C-RAN, where you put a millimeter wave node, 3 nodes, 3 sectors, and you do an LT upgrade at the top. Verizon has embraced 5G capacity because they're densifying the network. AT&T is embracing it as well. T-Mobile wants no parts of it because it's expensive. Carriers have to understand, and customers have to understand this too. 5G means densification, not just spectrum, but also the number of sites needs to increase. So I don't care if you're in Honolulu or Cleveland, Ohio, New York City, Miami, Florida, Houston, Texas, San Francisco, California, Spokane, Washington. It does not matter. 5G equals tower density improvements. T-Mobile has the spectrum. They don't have the densification. AT&T has the money. They're improving their density. Verizon has the density and they have no spectrum. Every carrier is flawed in their 5G approach. T-Mobile's running away from densification. Verizon is running towards densification, but they have no spectrum. AT&T's in debt from their media operations. Every company has problems. That's why our 5G sucks. If you really want to know why 5G in America sucks, it's because the focus has been low-band 5G, and the carriers all have problems. Verizon has no spectrum. T-Mobile doesn't want to densify. And AT&T has $150 billion in debt. That's the truth. That's the truth. If AT&T wasn't in debt, they would be burying Verizon and T-Mobile. And if Verizon had spectrum, they'd be burying T-Mobile and AT&T. And if T-Mobile embraced densification, they'd be burying Verizon and AT&T. I'm not negotiating any of those things. Those things are all fact. Every carrier is flawed, and that's why our 5G sucks. People laugh at millimeter wave and ultra wideband because it's hardly available. People laugh at T-Mobile because they don't have densification. People laugh at AT&T because they're so far in debt. Every carrier is literally doing 5G wrong because they're not embracing what 5G requires, which is expenditure, spectrum, and densification. If you don't like my take on it, you're in denial. That's all fact, and that's all true. Next story, this one is on the FCC's Ajit Pai. Ajit Pai finalized his serving on the FCC as the chair. He's done. His time as the chair has run its course under this current administration ending and with the new one starting. His time at the FCC, it's been awful. He was a horrible, horrible chairman of the FCC. In my opinion, he was terrible. He was awful. Some might agree, some might disagree. He concluded his term today by saying the following statement. 3 megabits per second upload is fast enough for U.S. homes. I don't even know what to say. 3 megabits per second uplink is good enough for most homes. Ajit Pai is one of two things. A liar or an idiot. Pick one. Or both. He's a liar and or an idiot. Who says things like that and thinks that people are going to take him seriously? 3 megabits per second is good upload. Do you guys know that a single Zoom call takes about 3 megabits per second to maintain a steady connection? One single one. People have 3-4 kids that are doing school simultaneously from home. You would need at least 20 megabits per second to keep your kids connected for school for Zoom meetings. Ajit Pai is either an idiot and or a liar. He is terrible. The worst. He is the equivalent of in leadership as Cox Communications is to home internet. He also believes that downlink should be and is fine at 25 megabits per second. He is absolutely absurdly insane. If he believes that, I got a bridge to sell him in Brooklyn, in oceanfront property in Idaho. He is a liar and or an idiot. That is absolutely absurd. 25 megabits per second down, 3 megabits per second up. He is an idiot and a liar, and I'll prove it to you. He says that those measurements can offer high-quality voice, data, graphics, and video communications. He's talking so much shizzle, his teeth are probably going to go rotten. U.S. federal law regulations of performance have literally accepted this as the bare minimum for home internet? No, sir. It's not going to cut it. That is terrible. The thing about this is, the problem with a 25 by 3 measurement is it makes things easy on the companies that deploy. It makes their standards low, so they don't have to work hard and they don't have to spend money to upgrade equipment and infrastructure. Ajit Pai is not a consumer advocate. Ajit Pai is not a man of the people. He's a man of the companies. He's a man of money. He sold his soul to the devil when he sold himself out for those companies. Turned his back on the people of America. We got fiber. We have gigabit speeds. And he won't even set a decent standard of 100 megabits down and 10 megabits up. That should be bare minimum in my opinion. I actually would go as far to say we should have at bare minimum 100 down, 50 up. But I'll take 100 by 10 as a starting point. Anything else is a complete underachievement. We have fiber everywhere. But he's not holding companies to the fire. It's unbelievable. Ajit Pai of the FCC claims that advanced telecom capabilities have paced and improved at an adequate level. And everything is fine. Ajit Pai was never a man of the people. Ajit Pai was never a man of the citizens of the U.S. He was a rotten, self-serving company man. He was never a consumer advocate. He was always a company shill. He's more lawyer than he is regulator. He's horrible. He was terrible. The more and more I think about it, the worse and worse he gets. He failed. He purposely skewed and misinterpreted data and reports on purpose. He cheated the people. He's evil, deceitful, and incompetent. he stole for years from the American people. I think he's a scumbag in the truest form. The more and more I think about it, how he screwed the people. His time as chair was an absolute train wreck, and he's going to go down as one of the worst FCC chairmen ever. He played the people of the U.S. He did nothing and accomplished nothing. I don't care that he deployed, that he auctioned C-band and CBRS. Anybody could have did those things. He did nothing special. All he did was set back people from getting decent home internet across the U.S. He's the worst. I really wish somehow, some way this got to him so he could hear it. I think he knows. I just don't think he cares. But he's literally the worst. He's the worst. I don't know who's going to replace him. You know, I don't know if anybody knows. I'm not sure about that. I'll take a look into that later on today. I'll do some research. But his time as FCC chair, atrocious. All right, let's move on to the next story, shall we? AT&T 5G Plus. Expanding rapidly. We got new markets. We got new venues. 5G Plus, which is AT&T's millimeter wave, the equivalent of Verizon's ultra wideband, is spreading like wildfire. Guys, I'm telling you, I think AT&T kind of sees what Verizon is going to do with fixed wireless and mobility with 5G ultra wideband. They see the repeater technologies, the echoes, the pivots, you know, those types of things, and they see the potential. They also know that in venues where you're going to have 40, 50, 60, 80,000 people, you're going to need stuff like this. Oracle Park in San Francisco, Ball Arena in Denver, Colorado. I hear also in the airports of Tampa, they now have AT&T 5G Plus. Now, they did say that it's going to be spotty in these places. It won't even be covering the entire arena and stadium and all that. But where there are going to be venues with a lot of people, AT&T is going to be deploying DAS systems, millimeter wave nodes, and so on, to keep the mid-band connections and the low-band connections free of congestion. Makes sense. Get it where you fit it, right? Wherever it can work. AT&T is your fastest carrier nationwide. 8 quarters in a row from Ookla speed test. Their 5G is also the fastest. It's an AT&T world right now when it comes to their wireless services. In case you guys aren't really getting it, AT&T for 8 quarters in a row has shown that their gains with their wireless network is worth your consideration. So that's 8th quarter in a row. Some interesting little tidbits. According to the Ookla speed test app, which by the way is a crowdsourced data collection, AT&T has the fastest overall network, the fastest 5G network, and it is the fastest network for iPhones, which is like, 60% of the phones that are on the major carriers? AT&T already claims to have passed Verizon in network coverage nationwide around the country. So if Verizon is king no more in coverage and AT&T is the fastest, well then clearly that makes AT&T the best carrier. They've got the FirstNet contract, the band 14, 700 megahertz. They're upgrading all those sites to band 14. They're also upgrading with other carriers as they climb these towers. So they're giving them the band 30 treatment, band 29, any modernizations that need to happen. They're doing it all. AT&T is proving that their money is being well spent on the network. So what I've noticed, and you guys know I've said this a million times, don't listen to what a carrier says. Watch what a carrier does. Here's what I mean. AT&T is so sure that they have the best wireless network, they will let you stream video without any restrictions. Whether it's prepaid, postpaid, they literally don't throttle. They don't restrict video playback resolution. They'll give it to you. If they have the bandwidth, if they have the throughput, if they have the downlink speed, they'll give it to you. And you could do whatever you want with it. If you want to watch videos on HD, you can do that. If you want to watch it on Quad HD, you could do that. If you want to watch it on 4K, they will let you do that as well. T-Mobile will give you fast speeds on N41, but they won't give it to you for video. Do a fast.com speed test and you'll get 2 megabits per second. You do the Ookla and you'll get 400. Verizon's the same way. You do a speed test, you get 80 megabits per second. You do a video test, you get 2 megabits per second. AT&T is the only carrier that literally does not restrict your video resolution playback. The bandwidth you have is available for any task that you want to do, including video. The reason for that is AT&T is confident that their network will hold up. It is tried and true. I've been testing it for over 2 years, and it is by far the most capacitive network on a consistent level. It is absolutely fantastic. Jay, you could use the fast.com. It connects to Netflix servers, tells you your video resolution playback. You can also go to Stats for Nerds on YouTube, and you could test the bandwidth. Don't listen to what a carrier says. Test it and watch what they do. Magenta, throttle to 480p. Magenta Plus, they'll give you like 4 to 6 megabits per second. AT&T's Starter Unlimited will give you no restrictions on video playback. AT&T's the best when it comes to video playback. No restrictions on your data whatsoever. Even their prepaid doesn't throttle. I've tried it with MVNOs. There is no throttle. It's the best. It's their network core. It's their upgraded backhaul. It's everything. It's the upgraded tower sites, the band 14, the band 30. It's everything. They do it right. AT&T, if the coverage claims are true, is the best network in the country. When I watch video, I prefer to use my AT&T line, even over my Verizon line. That's just the way it is. My Verizon line has the best voice call quality. That's the truth. Really, I mean, sometimes my fastest line is my T-Mobile line, but it doesn't matter. I only get 1.8 megabits per second to video. So I end up always reaching for my AT&T line, because I can watch full HD, quad HD, 4K if I want to on my AT&T line. Exactly, Lavendi. It's not throttled at all. Nothing is throttled. If AT&T has the bandwidth for you, they will give it to you, and you could do whatever you want with it. You can hotspot it. You can video. You could, uplink, streaming, live streaming, the whole shebang. They've got it. You can have it. You're paying for it. It is the most enjoyable connection I have. My AT&T Business Elite is the best line I have. I don't think people understand. Like, I know AT&T is not perfect. The billing system is atrocious. The customer care can be hit and miss. They mess up bills bad. They double charge, triple charge, taxes and fees and all these things. And that's where T-Mobile wins. The customer care, the customer is right. The credits, the free lines, the T-Mobile Tuesdays, the thongs, all those things. The chicken, the umbrellas, the movies, the gallons of gas, the discounts. All that is what T-Mobile does. And then Verizon's got that coverage, right, and all that, subways. It's all those different things, right? But AT&T gives you a fast, capacitive, unrestricted network experience that not Verizon or T-Mobile will give you. It's just not going to happen. AT&T does the wireless networking stuff right. You got to at least give them that. You could talk all you want about their billing and their integration and their customer care, and you can't trust all that. I get that, and I respect that because it's true. Those problems do exist. But you got to call a spade a spade. The wireless network is tremendous. Last story for today, y'all. Let's give this a little bit of attention. Some of you are prepaid customers. Go ahead and type a 1 if you're a prepaid customer. Let me know how many of you out there go prepaid. So for 2021, I was reading this article. The gentleman's name is Jeffrey Moore. You can follow him on Twitter. He's a contributor to fiercewireless.com. Good follow, right? Yeah, big shout out to Kazi, right? Big shout out to Jim. Prepaid in the house. Eugene. Mr. Usman. Brennan. Appreciate you guys chiming in. Let me know the prepaid in the house. There's so many good things about prepaid. You know what your bill is going to be. You have no commitments. You know what I'm saying? It's doesn't need your social security number to be, to have a credit check. These different things. It has its place for a lot of people, right? I get it. I actually like prepaid. I have a prepaid line. I have a visible line. Anyways, when it comes to the prepaid industry, market experts and industry talking heads have a pulse on trends in prepaid. The first thing they mention as a concern is the Verizon Wireless and TracFone deal. Some people are concerned about this acquisition because they're concerned about competition. They're concerned about consolidation of businesses. There's some politics involved here. Most people are pegging the acquisition at an 80% or 85% likelihood that it's going to happen. Once Verizon, if Verizon gets clearance here, Verizon would instantly have like 30% of the market share in prepaid. So as long as things work out in their favor, they become an instant player. How Verizon Wireless moves forward with this business in terms of the business model and plan, we have no idea. Who knows? It's a wild card. They might leave it the same. They might leave it untouched. They might consolidate brands. We have no idea. It's very likely that they consolidate the brands because there are way too many different business arms wrapped up in TracFone. What is there, like 20? It seems like it. You could probably turn the 20 TracFone businesses into like 6. I mean, heck, you could probably just turn them into 3 and call it a day if you really wanted to. Telcel is already being transitioned to Simple Mobile as we speak. I know that GoSmart and Page Plus are probably goners in this deal. From what I understand, I think GoSmart is 3G only anyways, so that's going to have to be figured out. How could they survive with all these brands? Like, it doesn't even really make sense, honestly, if you think about it, right? I don't know. That's something to watch in 2021 as things kind of finish up here in Q1. The TracFone deal will be done very soon. We'll probably have news on it within the next few weeks. The second thing to watch out for, and we're already starting to see it with Mint Mobile, is multi-month bundling and bulk buying. Type the number 2 if you pay for multiple months ahead of when your service is paid for. Meaning, like with Mint Mobile, you buy 3 months at a time, 6 months at a time to help you save money. Type the number 2 if that's the case. The way that this works is that it looks like Boost Mobile is running a special right now. 6 months of their wireless unlimited service for $240. This saves you $10 per month if you buy in the bulk. So if you're willing to pay $240 up front, you could save $60, $10 per month. That's a Mint Mobile specialty. That's how they do their business. AT&T offers this as well with one of their bundles to help people save money. There's a thing, though, that I don't really think this works, honestly, because here's the thing. This is kind of almost like prepaid is trying to go postpaid. They're trying to guarantee that they're going to get paid over the course of 6 months. They're willing to give you a discount to get multiple months of payments from you. So I don't know what that situation is, why that seems to be a trend. Mint Mobile does it, AT&T does it, Boost Mobile's doing it. I don't think this is going to catch on, personally. I don't think that's going to be a trend that lasts, and I'm going to tell you why. Prepaid customers like flexibility. They don't want to be locked down to any type of long-term commitments. That's why they chose prepaid. Also, they may not want to run their credit. They don't want long-term commitments. They may even be paying for their cellular, month to month because of financial situations. How are they going to pay for 6 months of service up front, right? So I don't know. I don't know if that's really going to catch on as a trend. I don't know. The business consolidation makes sense as a trend. I don't know about that bulk pricing, the Costco or BJ's or Sam's Club special. I don't think that works. I would say less than 5% of prepaid customers buy in bulk multiple months. Just doesn't seem like something that'll catch on. The third trend is trade-in programs. This is interesting because this has to do with smartphones. So one of the things that is really important in prepaid is being able to give people good deals on phones. Oftentimes, prepaid customers will actually switch, port out of a company, and port into a company based on a phone deal. So let's say that a carrier is willing to give them a phone for free or a phone for $49 or a really nice phone for $100, like an iPhone 8 or something, or I don't know. They might switch because of that. Now, if you throw in a trade-in program, take, for example, a customer walks in the store. Let's say that they walk into a Metro by T-Mobile store. Hey, I got this LG K20 last year. It's falling apart. It's slow. It's laggy. What do you give me for it on trade-in? Oh, we'll give you a $50 trade-in, a discount on your new phone. Okay, cool. Let's do it. Yeah, we sell the phone for $200. It'll make your phone $150 or $99 or $50, whatever. Port in, trade in your phone, get a phone for free type of deal. That attracts people to those deals. You can do it with credits, get people locked in to take advantage of that, free line of service or something like that. Free service for a month if you do this, that. There's different ways you could do it. Exactly, Mike. Metro doing a free OnePlus with port-in deals. That's what made me really think that this could work. Because literally Carlos went into a Metro store, ported in a line just to get that free OnePlus Nord 10 5G, whatever it's called. So Metro by T-Mobile's doing it. We have Boost Mobile could be next. We're hearing rumor and speculation that they're next to jump on the bandwagon. It makes sense, actually. Boost Mobile competes fiercely with Metro by T-Mobile for business. So you're probably going to have to compete in a couple of different places. You got to compete in pricing for service. You got to compete in hardware, the phones, in order to get people to come to your side, to port out of Metro, to port into Boost. Metro also offers more value. They have a better unlimited plan than Boost. They have their own network. It's probably a better priority. There's probably no 2G throttling on Metro. It's probably 3G or something. I don't know. But they're going to have to probably respond. We're going to have to see Boost respond, or else they're going to get consumed. They're going to continue to lose customers. Then we know that they already are, with switching over to this 35 gigs of usage on their unlimited plan and then slowing you down to 2G. Believe you me, people have told me. The comment sections of my Boost videos are loaded with negative commentary, and I'm leaving Boost. I'm going to leave. My internet sucks. I can't even browse a web page. I can't do anything. Can't watch YouTube videos. Whatever. So Metro does it. Boost is likely next. And then I think after that, you're probably talking about Cricket doing the same thing. These companies will fiercely compete for business and prepaid. And they're the urban unlimited offerings. So Metro first. I think Boost is next. And if Boost does it in response to Metro, I think we're also going to see Cricket do it as well. Which, in my opinion, guys, is good. It's good to see the competition. If carriers are willing to compete for postpaid, giving people Hulu and Disney and ESPN Plus and Apple Music and Netflix and HBO Max, then prepaid can also compete with trade-in deals, deals on phones, deals and discounts on multiple lines, and all that good stuff. So of those three things, the consolidation of brands and prepaid, I think that's going to happen quite a bit in 21. The multi-month bulk buying of service in multiple months, I don't think that's going to catch on. And the trade-in programs, I think that is going to catch on. I think that is a real thing. That's going to happen. I think Boost responds. I think Cricket responds. Mike says Boost needs to do something like Metro. I agree. Cricket has port-in deals, not as good as Metro, though. They'll have to compete for those customers, right? And then TracFone needs to do port-in deals. We'll see if Verizon's on board with that. Maybe Verizon does take prepaid seriously, and they start competing with the likes of Cricket, as well as Boost and Metro. We'll see what happens. I'm tracking those things. You guys know I'll bring it to you. That's how we do it here on the SMT podcast. I think we'll wrap it up with that. I don't think there's much else to discuss. We did cover a lot of topics. I do want to, do a couple of things real quick. Thanks some people. Big shout out to the Patreon supporters. Thanks for supporting me on that platform, helping enable content creation here on YouTube as well as on the Patreon page. You guys are amazing. Thank you for supporting the SMT. If you want to become a member of the SMT Patreon, there's a link in the description box below. There's ways to donate. There's communities to become a part of. We got the Twitter handle if you want to interact on that platform. There's so many different things you could do. So check out all the links down in the description box below. Let's go ahead and wrap up the show, y'all. Thank you for being here. Hashtag 2LiveCrew if you watch this in the live. Hashtag Mod Squad to my moderators. Hashtag Replay Gang for those watching this on DVR. And hashtag Ravioli Gang for those watching this while they're eating dinner or possibly hungry. Consider subscribing if it's your first time here. Become a member of the SMT Nation. Also consider becoming a supporter of the SMT Patreon. If you like what we do on the YouTube side, you'll love what we do on the Patreon. More content, more insightful commentary, more productions, more testing. Check us out there. Link in the description box. That's it. You guys are amazing. Thank you for supporting the SMT on YouTube. Thank you for supporting the SMT on Patreon. To all my supporters and Patreon members, you guys are the best. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you for watching the SMT podcast. We hope to see you soon on the next video and or podcast, and we shall see you then. I wish you wealth. I wish you health. Take it easy. Be safe out there, and peace. Yeah.